Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce GTX 974GB, 3.5GB GPU in Starfield. This one is the Asus ROG Strix version of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, and we probably should overclock it a little bit, because these Maxwell GPUs overclock really well. I'm actually going to do like 150 over here and 250 on the memory clock. Apply that, and over in Tech Power-Ups GPU Z, you can see all of the GPU specs. Oh, interesting. This is 9 days short of being 9 years old. Jesus. Okay, anyway, over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5800X3D and 32GB of RAM to avoid CPU bottlenecks with this card. And let's get right into the game. Let's go. Right, let's start by going through the settings, and we're playing at 1080p resolution using the low settings preset with no upscaling enabled, so this is native resolution. And I guess to no one's surprise, the little GTX 970 is definitely showing its age, my friends. It's well below 30 frames per second in Atlantis City. Granted, this is one of the most intensive areas in the entire game, but still, if you like the 970 with this graphical fidelity, should be getting more FPS, right? I mean, again, it's getting old. Drivers are very outdated at this point, so I'll give it a pass, but the game is just terribly optimized. There's no way around it, right? Anyway, and in these 900 series GPUs, even though we're playing at native resolution, you can see a lot of shimmering and a lot of jagged edges. Look at that over there, for example. It looks absolutely terrible compared to something like a GTX 1060. And we clearly see that when we compare the GTX Titan X that I've tested previously in the channel to the GTX 1660 Ti. On paper, those GPUs are very similar in performance, but the 1660 Ti was like twice as fast in this game, almost. And it looked way better than this. This looks like absolute crap. So yeah, it's a very cinematic experience, don't get me wrong. If you're into movies and stuff and you're a movie fanatic, well, you're getting 24 FPS on average, which is absolutely perfect. We need to enable some upscaling, and you know what? I'm gonna set it to 100% sharpness and 100% resolution scale at the same time, just to see how it looks, okay? And okay, it looks, yeah, it probably looks a little bit better than what we saw at native res, because now it got the sharpening going on, but it's still super shimmery in some areas. I mean, I'm stopped right here. I'm not moving the camera whatsoever, and the textures on the buildings are still flickering like crazy. And I can still see a lot of pixelation over here in these things. And whoa, look at the staircase right there. It's flashing, dude. Damn, and look at that over there as well. It's so blurry. Like some areas of the image, like the tree here, for example, is really crispy. Just how I like it. And that tree over there is also very crispy. But that over there is completely terrible. Like, what the hell, mate? Anyway, let's drop it down to render resolution 66%, which means that it's actually playing at FSR quality. I'm going to disable dynamic resolution. Let's go now. This is 66%, FSR2. Start counting our FPS. Now it's getting 30 frames per second. It's almost playable, guys. All right, it's still going to drop here and there, but at this point, we are actually getting 30 plus in the most intensive area in the game, so that means that in other planets it will achieve 30 plus FPS all of the time. And I'm actually going to test out another planet in just a little bit, just to see the performance there and to confirm what I am telling you guys, that the performance here is absolutely atrocious compared to other areas. But yeah, it dropped to like 27 over there. Okay, it's 25 over here. This is also really intensive. I mean, now you can lock it to 24 frames per second and achieve that 24 cinematic experience all of the time. Unfortunately, it doesn't look very cinematic with so many blurry textures everywhere. Like, look at this over here. Whoa! You actually need to lick it for it to load properly, dude. Now it's loaded. But previously it was a blurry mess. Holy crap. Alright, should we find Bob, guys, and kill that bastard? Or should we just move on to a lower resolution scale value? Maybe that's a good idea, you know? Let's try 50% resolution scale at... Oh my god, it's so blurry. Oh, there's Bob! There's Bob! Hey! Aha, we found him with the beanie. There we go. How's it going, Bob? Let's talk to him. Hey, is this a double Bob scenario, guys? No, that's not a beanie. Okay. All right, Bob, it's time. It's time for you to go. How are you not dead? I shot you in the head. There we go. Bob is now dead and on his period, apparently. Anyway, this is 50% resolution scale, and it's still kind of the same as before, if not worse. I think we need to restart it at this point. It's probably because things that should be on VRAM already spilled into the RAM, and now they're not going back up to VRAM, and it's ruining the FPS. It happens with low gigabyte GPUs in this game. All right, we're back to it. 50% resolution scale now working properly, and it's getting 40s. Like, it touched 40 FPS. It's getting 30s actually. Over in this area, okay, it's getting 30 plus all of the time apparently, guys. It's not too far off of what the GTX 1650 did, honestly. It's pretty weird because the Titan X was so far away from the 1660 Ti in this one, but this is pretty close to the 1650. Maybe I'm confusing things here, and maybe the 1650 was running a higher resolution and getting these FPS, you know, probably is the case. But still, this is now playable. Playable with huge quotes. Okay, it's still 30-ish frames per second, and it looks like absolute dog crap, dude. This is just, yeah, I would not buy the game to play with these graphics, guys. For example, in this image right here, it looks like you smeared Vaseline on the middle of the screen there, but the rest, and on the right as well, that tree is super blurry, but the rest of the screen is fine. Depth of field is disabled. Okay, somebody told me that it's because of depth of field. No, that's disabled. That's disabled, and it looks like that. Even if I zoom into it, it doesn't get sharper, guys. Anyway, let's go back to 66%, which again is quality FSR2, and I think it's much more adequate here. It does drop from 30, as we've seen already, but it's only in worst case scenarios, basically, so I think I would go with these settings on a 970 25 there. Again, that's exactly what we've seen previously. We're gonna go ahead and quit, restart the game again, just to make sure that it doesn't do anything funny by switching worlds, you know, and we're gonna visit another planet. Here we have it, guys. The planet is Crete. It's getting really good FPS, actually. It's pretty smooth as well. Way better experience than what we saw in New Atlantis. It's still super shimmery at the distance, but I mean, this is now a playable experience. You know, it's still 66% resolution scale using FSR2, so it doesn't look absolutely terrible, although I really hope that some new drivers take the 900 series in mind, for example, and optimize the visuals for them as well, because every other card looks okay with 66% FSR. This one looks absolutely terrible. But it's seeable, you know, it's seeable. The FPS are okay-ish, and these are the FPS that you're gonna have during like 80 to 90% of the game, depending on how much time you spend in big cities like the New Atlantis one. Inside, of course, you get even higher frames per second, touching 50 frames at times. It might even touch 60s if we lick a wall, for example. There we go, yeah, very nice. So it's completely playable right now, you know. Still has some slowdowns, not gonna lie. There we go. There we go, come on, kill these guys. Alright, no stuttering though, so that's great. I've seen a lot of stuttering with the Steam Deck, probably because of the CPU being too low end for this. Not too bad for a little 970 in this particular planet. I could enjoy my time with this, honestly. And again, if you don't mind the horrible graphics, if you don't mind the slowdowns in New Atlantis, well, this could be playable. This is your game, like, you absolutely need to play it. You can't upgrade at the moment. Sure, give it a try, I guess. Look at this over here, it's also pretty intensive. Dropping into the 30s, but not from 30. So that's alright, I guess. As long as you aren't in that huge city where we started, it shouldn't really drop from 30 FPS by too much. Okay, time for 720p resolution, native, using the lowest settings. And what I concluded from the Titan X video is that 720p looks absolutely terrible, but if you have a 720p monitor, I mean, it might be okay. It's stretching it though, like the graphics are so blurry, it's impossible. I would not enjoy it myself, but if you're watching this on a smartphone or a small monitor, it might be okay. I don't know. Still dropping into the 20s though. I don't think this is worth it. I think I would just set it to 1080p 66%, deal with the slowdowns to the same values that we're seeing here. This is actually really accurate now that I think of it, guys, because 66% of 1080p is actually 720p, or quality FSR2 usually means 720p resolution when your native res is 1080. So we're seeing it drop exactly to the same values as before. But it lacks that little bit of sharpening from FSR2, so 1080p is definitely the way to go. Still, I really want to check it out with the CAS over here and sharpening to 100%. It just gets more shimmery and more noisy. For example, this wasn't noisy previously. That wasn't noisy Look at that. Look at the amount of noise right there. Oh my god, it's terrible. And today I'm actually using a 1080p monitor for this, a 24-inch monitor, 1080p resolution. So it's not the huge 40-inch monitor that I'm used to, because I wanted to minimize my headaches from playing at 720p with drops into the 20s at 40 inches. Like 720p at 40 inches is insane. I know. I do it very often, but I shouldn't. It gives me headaches. Anyway, if you have a 720p monitor or a 768p monitor, that's 1366 by 768, it should run around the same as this, like with 1 or 2 less FPS at that resolution. It's really similar. You can run your native resolution with some sharpening, and if they manage to fix the freaking blurriness from the 900 series, it is gonna end up being an okay experience, an acceptable experience if your standards are really, really low. But I mean, the thing is, people with a GTX 970, at least people who bought it back in the days in 2014 when it released, are probably okay with this. You know, I would be okay with this if I have had this GPU for 9 years. You know, I'd expect it in 2023 to be struggling a lot. It can run Red Dead Redemption 2 absolutely fine at 1080p high settings, for example, and that game looks 10 times better than this one with those settings, but hey. Let's do FSR2 with 66%, so quality FSR at 720p, disable dynamic resolution, so it's always at 66%, and we need to restart. Oh my god. Look at the blurriness. Jesus. I mean, if you wear glasses in real life, some people have told me in the comments that it's kind of like this if you don't wear the glasses, so yeah. I guess it could be very realistic if you think about it that way. Your character in-game desperately needs glasses, and this is a universe where glasses haven't been invented. I mean, after all, I don't see anybody wearing glasses here. It might still drop from 30 though, because there are a couple of scenarios where it gets more intensive. Oh, hello, Bob. Now you are visiting me very often. I like it. Goodbye. Like, seriously, how the hell doesn't he die with that? What the? And he starts running like nothing happened. Really? Let me see where Bob goes this time. Alright. NPCs of the future, by the way. Very realistic and next-gen title. No, 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 no! Oh boy. Oh boy, they just disappear when they get there. So yeah, we got Bob. Anyway. It's gonna be playable in terms of FPS, but unplayable in terms of graphics, so what's the point, really? But now let's try the last resolution here, my friends. It's 360p, literally, 0% sharpening, 50% resolution scale using CAS, and that makes it 360p native. This is it, my friends. No sharpening going on. We don't need that crap. Oh, it looks so gorgeous, doesn't it? Such a beauty. And 970 is producing 40 frames per second. with these graphics, where it can achieve 40 to 50 frames per second on average with these graphics. I mean, this looks a heck of a lot better, doesn't it? I mean, textures might not look as good, but still everything else really pretty in Red Dead Redemption 2. Anyways, that's been it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2 on your 970 yet, give it a shot instead of buying Starfield, okay? It's gonna work really well, as you can see, and look amazing at the same time, and it also has a really good story, of course. So yeah, catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.